Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. I am John Halcyon. This is a Love Ambassador morning. It is a chance for us to connect and share some gratitude, and I would love to hear what you are grateful for. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube, and I am live in Solana Beach, California. Lucky today to be within earshot and nose shot of the Pacific Ocean. I was going to jump in the water before this, but timing got tight, so I got my trunks on. So I'm grateful that I get a chance to go in the ocean this morning. Get a little cold plunge in the Pacific. Not that cold, but kind of cold. Oh, it's time to share a song because that's what we do now. And if you got some words for me, then shout them out. Pow! These songs are getting worse, I think. My brain is getting smaller, which is kind of cool because my nephew yesterday was getting much taller. It's love morning. Love morning now. It's love morning. Good morning, Gerbot. I don't know. I felt like I was on a real streak with some solid songs, and I don't know if my faith in my improv has taken a hit. Good morning. Oh my gosh, Gerbot says it was 100 degrees yesterday. Whoa. Well, good morning, Gerbot. Good morning, Victoria Rose. It is overcast in Solana Beach, quite chilly. Well, no, I take that back. Not quite chilly. In fact, I'm kind of warm here with my this is a little too much clothing for with indoors, but it's but I'm so vain. I don't like the way this tank top looks. Oh my gosh! Welcome to my nightmare. Just kidding. I'm full of gratitude. So grateful to be here this morning with you, and grateful for a lot of things. I'm grateful that I got to see my family last night. I got to see my mom and dad and hug them. I got to see my brother, my sis-in-law, and Carter and celebrate his 16th birthday. He got his driver's license yesterday. It was just so fun to see a little man grow up. He's awesome. For his dinner, we went to this fancy steak place, and I had such a good steak. I had a craving for steak about a week ago, and I cooked one, and it satisfied my craving. But after I had steak last night, like at a nice, I was like, oh man, so much better. This place, they had cuts of beef that ranged from $50 to $275, and if you got a steak, but they walk around with a board of knives, like all on a magnetic thing, and they walk around and you pick the knife that you want to eat your meal. I just think that's the coolest thing. Good morning, Alex. Good to see you. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Brent. From the safe side of Florida. Well, I'm telling you, from this coast, there is no safe side of Florida. But I know I'm generalizing. Good morning, George. Good morning, Rock. How was your burn? Have I talked to you since the burn? I have. Yeah. I feel like. And good morning, Juan. I'm in this weird state right now where I haven't fully, like, I still have Burning Man videos that I need to edit and work with. I haven't published any of the Pink Ride videos, and I'm seeing people posting about Burning Man, and I kind of, this weekend I hit a kind of a mental place where I feel like I have some clarity on some projects that I want to work on, and they're not Burning Man related, and so it's an interesting place for me to be in. I mean, I feel like I have to follow the inspiration, but it's weird because for so many years, Burning Man is always like the most inspiring thing in my life, and it hasn't been lately. In fact, like there's the Utopia is a San Diego regional burn that's coming up in a couple months, and at this point, I'm not planning on going. A super burn. Good to hear, Rock. Gearbot says, I'm grateful for your video archive. Went digging for some book recommendations I remembered from last year. It was fun looking back at some of the old streams. How far you've come. It is a trip for me. It's interesting, in some ways, there's this feeling of how far I've come, and sometimes there's this feeling of how much life is a spiral. As maybe I'll go grab it, but like I was reading pieces from those like 100 bits of wisdom, and that list of my most important lessons of life, I started it 10 years ago. And so it's kind of a weird awareness to realize, oh, these are the lessons that I learn and forget and learn and forget and learn and forget. So I was writing yesterday kind of an intro to the book, or at least a first draft of an intro to the book. And that was the kind of the theme that I came to of like, hey, I'm not an enlightened person. I got no sacred golden plates with messages on them that I'm sharing. But there's a few things that I've kind of learned over the course of my life, and then forgotten, and then learned again, and forgotten, and learned and forgotten, and over time, multiple times of learning these things from multiple teachers and multiple life experiences, you start to go, okay, I think this is true, This idea that it's important, like where you place your focus means something, like crap or cone. That wasn't like an epiphany, or I didn't like read a quote and go, yes! It's like, that is something that has been a practice, remembered and forgotten 500 times, 1,000 times over the course of my life. Daily, probably. And so I think that's an interest. I'm just kind of chewing on that idea that wisdom is a spiral, and I guess maybe we circle around it, we circle around it, we circle around it, and it is interesting to see like the way, like to see, especially because I have video and I can see, like I can hear my voice different. Sometimes I can hear my voice when I'm performing, and versus when feel like I'm channeling. Just rambling here. Victoria Rose says, grateful for Jamin Percy and the Gigapan he released. Oh, cool. Man, Jamin, that guy is a treasure to the Burning Man community. He's one of the most talented just photographers of portraits, and he did some this year. Like I saw he'd released some body painting photo shoot that he did. But he's also one of the most talented drone photographers, and then he does things like the Gigapan, the massive photo from the air. Such a cool gift, such a service. And I don't know what he does now. He used to do like elaborate costumes too. And he's also the one who did the photo of the cover of Protagonist, the book Protagonist, which is still available on Amazon if you haven't read it. It's my kind of catalog of my life. Good morning, Razorblade. Good morning, Hope. Gerbot says, grateful for this practice and for your rambling. You know what? I feel that, Gerbot, and it's so helpful to me to feel received and heard, and like, like we're having a conversation, and like I think that there's something like we collectively access energy and ideas that we don't do alone. And so I love and I appreciate your ear and your encouragement and your contribution. So thank you. Victoria says, that is shifting for me as well. Other desires are calling, and Burning Man is no longer front and center. It's a pleasant adjunct. Yeah, I mean, 10 Principles is still a core part of who I am, in radical self-expression and gifting. Like, gifting and radical self-expression are fundamental core values to what I believe to be a path of awakening and growth, contribution and service, But those principles are more core and important to me than my personal experience in the execution of them in Black Rock City. Now, I do believe in the importance of Black Rock City culturally, so I want to continue to contribute towards that city, but it no longer feels like a mandatory, like I used to feel like I needed it to energize me for the rest of the year, and I don't think that's true anymore. We shall see. Juan says, I am grateful for my sister's health. She is now recovering from surgery at Stanford. Yay for recovery! Beautiful. We will all think healing thoughts for your sister. Luann saying that Jamin is one of the kindest souls. He's such a good man. I agree. And he makes like really elaborate, cool, creative gifts. So if you think of it, let's all send him a little note saying, you make Burning Man awesome, or something like that. Or sending you the Hug Nation as a love ambassador, or fellow love ambassador, thank you for being you, something like that. Do whatever you want. Hope says, yep, I'm here for the ramble. Thank you. I should say, just as I'm aware of it, and so I had steak last night, but before that, I went and got my car washed because it was so filthy from our camping trip. And while I was getting my car washed, I got some peanut M&Ms, which isn't what I wanted, but that's what they had, and it didn't quite satisfy my craving. And so then I went and I got some Red Vines, and they didn't have like a single pack, so I got like a big pack. And so I ate a lot of candy yesterday. And so a combination of a lot of candy and a big old steak, this human body that I'm in is giving me messages saying, please don't do that again. Please don't do that again. We're basically a tube, right? And we shovel food in and it comes out, and sometimes we make it difficult on that tube. And I think I'm doing that right now. Good morning, Emil. Emil says, I am grateful for my new mushroom coffee. I've been making changes for my health and lowering my caffeine intake. It's one of those changes. Good for you. I did a low caffeine day yesterday. Today, no comment. But again, it's related to that thing. Like this tube is fragile. It's also quite robust. I'm sometimes amazed that, like, I could eat that many Red Vines, which is basically like sugar and plastic, right? I don't know what. And my body's like, okay, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna process this shit. Speaking of that, I told you I was writing an intro to the book yesterday, and one path that I was considering, and let me see if I can express it, is that like that being alive, being a conscious entity in a physical body on a fertile planet at this time in the technological tipping point of this global technological thing is like so wild. And yet I don't live in a state of awe. I could be sitting I could be sitting eating a salad, scrolling through my phone, just being distracted by these little videos, these little 30-second clips of TV shows I've already seen and bar fights. But meanwhile, I'm chewing on a piece of lettuce that was grown in a field. This plant took energy from a star and converted it through photosynthesis to energy, which then I am ingesting, and then it's going into my gut, where trillions of living things that are not me help to convert that energy from the star to the plant into me. And all that stuff is happening without any conscious thought. My conscious mind, while this miracle is happening, is distracting myself. How crazy is that? And I think, in some ways, that's what being alive right now is about. How do you live in this world without forgetting that we're in a constant state of miracles? I mean, you can go off grid and live with the land, and that's awesome. But I think a lot of us aren't ready to do that. But we don't want to totally forget and live in our phone worlds. So how do you stay in a state of, wow, I'm so grateful to be alive. I'm so grateful for this coffee. I'm so grateful for this digital tool so we can talk. I'm so grateful for ba 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 ba. And I'm enjoying my technology of my digital things. I'm enjoying this and that. And I don't know. Yes, Jamin makes those desk globes, exactly. Hope says, how awesome to be on the receiving end of an unexpected appreciation note. Yes, in fact, that's something that I try to do frequently, and I would encourage us to do it right now, or as soon as we get off here, just send a text to anybody. Open your phone and scroll, and go, thinking about you. Have a good day. No expectation of a response. Don't say, how are you? Because how are you, that you've given them an assignment. As a little side note, this is something that, this is something that I learned late in life, but I think it's super helpful, and this is kind of a tangent, if you are checking in on someone who is sick or has been depressed or is healing or recovering from something, be cautious not to add to the expectations on them. When I was really sick a couple years ago, and someone would say, how are you doing? I'd be like, ugh, leave me alone. But if someone says, I saw that you're not feeling so good, I hope you're feeling better, thinking about you. That was thanks. And I do think it's such a subtle thing. And until I was in that situation, I didn't understand the difference of an expectation, a homework assignment. I'm serving you the ball, serve it back, versus just I'm presenting an energetic appreciation, no expectation in return. And so I would encourage you to send a note to someone today and just say, you're awesome, thinking about you, thanks for being you, something like that. And, they very well may respond, but it's not expected. So it's gift instead of an exchange. Good morning, Kiri. Kiri says, I'm grateful for a day off of work today. Yeah, enjoy. Mingle, good morning. I love you. Email says, I know that feeling. I ate fried food a few days ago and I regretted it. I mean, it's funny, as I'm sitting here, make sure I associate the feeling I have today with the behavior I did yesterday. Delivering the smiles today, yes. Kiri says, I am so grateful that I'm feeling better enough in my meat suit to ease back into my favorite routine of strength training 6 days a week. Rock on. I love that you said meat suit, because when I was writing yesterday about this experience of being alive in a human body and in a physical body, at first I used the term meat suit because I love that, but it also can be jarring, so I just said physical body. But I love that you said it because I'm thinking about it. Food is magical, especially natural food. I mean, the whole like our whole relationship to food, our whole I find it, yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I think that we really, there's so many things that contribute to our disconnect from the magic. Like the fact that we can go to a store and have 60 types of cereal, and we have racks and racks of spices, and we can have frozen foods from, all different exotic types of ethnic delicacies, and we really lose track of how obscene that is compared to the history of the world. And it's why, we have obesity epidemic, is because for the history of the world, finding enough calories was a big deal. And finding ways to make the food taste good. Like, there were wars fought. People killed each other over spice trade. And now we can Amazon and have every possible delivery, to us in the next, in that same day. And so I think that we lose some of the appreciation. We lose some of the awareness of specialness, And I think part of the practice of gratitude is to continually try to rein it in. Go, no. Actually, the fact that I had a steak last night is incredible, Gerwat says, we're not like a dump truck. We're a series of tubes. I love my tubes. Yay, humans are amazing. So grateful to be alive and healthy. So true. It is trippy when you think about we're just tubes. Sierra, good morning. Hope saying, I think our first few burns didn't help open our eyes some to the didn't help open our eyes to the awe and wonder. Yes, I think maybe I'm reading that wrong, but absolutely, I think any experience that's outside of our norm helps us to see with fresh eyes. That's why travel can be so important, or a new perspective. And Burning Man is as dramatic a travel experience as you can have, I think, without leaving this planet. So it really, I think, helps with the awe and wonder. And I think that's also part of it because it starts with this barren landscape. It also helps that you see, oh, from nothing, I'm having a ice cream float. Wow, look at all that had to happen for me to appreciate this. And we sometimes lose that in the convenience of city life. Joy says, I am grateful for those surprise texts, and thank you for the reminder. Grateful to have people I love to check in on, and grateful for those who have checked on me. Thank you. Good morning, Jason. About saying gift instead of an exchange. Yes, that is such a hard thing to explain to people about gifting culture. So often it's confused with barter or other types of exchange. That's the magic of gifting. Exactly. And like when I'm at Burning Man and people ask me about Burning Man or my favorite principle, gifting changed my life. Gifting changed the way I see the world. Gifting changed the way I see myself. Radical self-expression and gifting, it'd be hard for me to pick one. And I think if you gave me enough time, I could weave them together. Because the true magic of gifting is when we figure out what it is about our unique gifts that we can contribute towards the cracks that are in the world. And that requires radical self-expression. We have to free ourselves to allow our gifts out. And it is through that radical self-expression that we can gift from a profoundly unique and divine way. How's that? Jamil says, every burn I go, I learn something new within myself and the world. Jason says, I am grateful for a sober mind this past year and learning life lessons with a clear head. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting how many people think of, when they think of Burning Man, they're like, oh, yeah, I got to bring things to trade. Or even people think the word gifting and they associate with barter. And it's because, and I talk about this at length, that we are born and live in transactional societies. And so the concept of non-transactional interactions is so foreign that we can't really conceive of it until we experience it. It's like, until you have the vocabulary for something, you almost can't understand it. And I think gifting is in that realm. And then when you do experience it, that's how the world can change for you. Hope says, I'm a member of my local Buy Nothing group, and I brought the gifting culture to my neighborhood. I love it. I want to look into that a little bit, because I have some furniture right now that I've posted on my Facebook, like, hey, anybody want this? And I could bring it to Goodwill. I'd rather not. I did drop off some stuff at Goodwill. But I should join the Buy Nothing group and see if anybody wants this furniture. Thanks for the kick. Any last gratitudes before we jump into a hug and head off into this day and try to, maybe if we have a chance, send a little I appreciate you message to somebody in our phone? I am grateful, as I said, for being close to the ocean and getting a chance to jump in today. I'm grateful that I get to celebrate my nephew's birthday yesterday and that I got to see my folks. I'm grateful that I got some extra snuggle time this morning with my beloved. It's there's some activities that I feel like sometimes it's hard to get out of bed, and I feel like it's not productive. Like my mind will be like, well, I didn't get much sleep, so a little bit of sleep would be good, and maybe you should stay in bed. That's kind of that's not, I mean, it's easy to believe that when I'm tired, but I almost always do appreciate and value an extra 15-20 minutes of spooning my partner. Especially if I'm in and out of sleep and I'm kind of doing a slight meditative practice where I try to be as present as possible and notice all the places where I'm touching her, and just being aware of this state of appreciation and connection, and really so much of the abstract desire of life is this moment of connection and peace, and so if I can let go of the thoughts and get present in that moment, I almost always feel like that is a worthwhile reason to stay in bed. And so I got to have some of that this morning. Good morning, Junai. All right. Thank you all for being here. Let's see. Kiri says, if life is a never-ending loop of dirty dishes and laundry, then that means life is a never-ending loop of home-cooked meals and comfy, clean clothes. Look at that. I think that somehow relates back to we're all tubes. Just depends on where you celebrate. Going in, going out. Good morning, Christopher. Christopher says there's a Finnish saying that says, the skin remembers when talking about human contact. Well, I am so grateful to have this non-physical contact, but still contact nonetheless. I do believe that we get to practice this feeling of connection, this feeling of belonging and not aloneness. I know that in this moment, I feel I know I'm physically by myself, but I feel a communal energy, knowing that we are all connected. It doesn't matter where our feet are. It matters that where our heart and our thoughts are, and we are connected. So thank you for being a part of this Love Ambassador morning. So wherever you are, give yourself a big squeeze. Oh, I'm looking in the wrong place. This is where my camera is. Hi. Hi. Wherever you are, give yourself a big squeeze. Feel yourself being held by all the people who are here, all the people in this shared intention of connection and support and gifting and radical self-expression. And let's feel held. Let's remember that we are so much more alike than we are different. We're all humaning the best we can. And let's celebrate one another and forgive one another and forgive ourselves and celebrate ourselves as we take a deep breath in. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of us here, thanks for being here today. I love you. I will say one last thing if you're still here, which is, and it was been an interesting experience. You know, I reposted this video that Yahoo did years ago. Actually, they did in 2007, right when Grandpa passed, and they filmed it during his last year. And there's footage in it of me saying, I don't think I'm going to do Hug Nation after he dies. And then footage of me after he dies saying, we're going to keep doing this and make you proud. And then just watching that again this week and reflecting on how, multiple times a day, I am saying on behalf of Grandpa Caleb and thinking Grandpa Caleb. It really has, it's impacted the way I look at death and grief. Last week, Lisa and I spent time with a friend in hospice, and someone that I've only known as a very old man, and so I had to even say last night, hey, at least I need you to know that I'm seeing all this through this filter of my experience with my grandfather and how my awareness of how much a part of my life he is, even though he passed, in 2007. And so as I watch and I witness his going through transition and your grief with it all, I also have this faith. That's been really fascinating. Yeah. Love you. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for being a part of my life. Hello, Lilu. Grateful to be alive and healthy. I'm glad you made it. Beautiful.